Hey everybody, sorry for being late. Just trying to get the computer going and such, and just took a couple extra moments to get done. Um, I have a guest on tonight, Adam Ristau. He's been on our show for, well, never been on the show, but I've known Adam for quite a few years now, and he's always been a very fascinating young gentleman with lots of things happening in his life. He's always been fascinated with the paranormal, as I have been, and he's been with us on a couple of investigations. So always fun to talk with him. So we'll bring him on as soon as he's ready. But I wanted to bring up, um, sorry guys, live. Never can edit stuff like that out. But just the other day, I found out that Warren Area Site Paranormal Channel, which is me, um, is I'm sorry, I got distracted, and so I was half speaking. I am one of the co-founders of Warren Area Site Paranormal, along with Lee Angel, and but I am the one that's been kind of behind the scenes here on the YouTube channel, and I went on to another YouTube channel called Elevated Vlogs and made a comment because they had a video where they said if you make a comment, you could win some of our new merchandise. And lo and behold, they chose our name out of the hat. So, hold on one second. This is their channel, Elevated Vlogs. I cannot screen. And this giveaway live stream here, they showed that we won one of their stocking caps, and so I'm excited to receive that stuff. Thank you, Elevated Vlogs. Hopefully, sooner or later, we could team up and do a investigation or something. Explore an abandoned place. So I wanted to say thank you. It sounds like Adam will only have audio, so we'll see how that works out because I'm not very comfortable in front of a camera by myself, but we'll see what we can do. Adam.
Hello.
Hey, Adam.
Hey, how you doing, Scott?
We're gonna see how we can do this because I'm not very good with talking without that face-to-face interaction.
Sorry.
Oh, hey, things happen. If people would be so kind to give us thumbs up on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I wasn't sure if you're aware that we are on all three of those, Adam.
Yep.
And
I think I've actually subscribed on all three.
Nice. I appreciate that. Really
Always.
Cool. If you guys could chat and let us know how things are working, if there are not. I see Matt on YouTube, Melissa. Hey, Melissa. Lee. Lee is giving me a hard time because it says late as normal. Can you see the chat?
Yes. Me? Right?
Yes.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. So Matt is saying hello.
Hey, Matt.
Drinking some homebrew. Tasty, if you ask me. It's Irish stout with Lucky Charm cereal and part of the mix of it.
Nice. Is it from that new place, or you make it your own?
It's my own brew. I don't know if anybody else would want to take credit for it. So every once in a while, we might have my granddaughter pop in the background. which is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So, how you been, Adam?
Not too bad. Surviving the whole 2020 pandemic stuff and, getting through it.
2020, 2021, 2025, hopefully not.
We're on our way out of it. It's just a matter of time at this point.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But that's awfully, that's kind of slowed us down quite a bit on looking into doing things and whatnot.
Yeah, it slowed us down to a halt, so.
Yeah. So, what's new and exciting with you?
I'm about to ramp up production on a new series. I'm not sure if I'm putting this one on YouTube. I'm going to try and get an actual distributor. It's based on the old 1930s Flash Gordon series. You remember those?
That's the TV show or the movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's well, there's a 1980s, I think, movie, and then in the 30s, it actually originated as a miniseries that would appear before the longer main movies in theaters. And it always ended on a cliffhanger, and it was always campy as hell and stuff. And we're doing a love letter / parody to it called Awesome a Cool Name, because he's awesome, and that's his name, and therefore he's awesome a cool name. And it's just stupid shit like that, all jumbled together. So I hope it turns out well. I've got costumes on the way. I've got one of the people doing stuff like in a week or so with it, and I just cast our leading lady, so I'm pretty stoked.
Nice. That sounds like a very busy schedule. And I really appreciate you taking the time out to come chat with us.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And the crew. And Matt, no, tonight it's the pumpkins put away, and we're getting close to St. Patrick's Day, so wear my lucky shirt with a 4-leaf clover. Looks kind of blue on my screen, but granddaughter and stuff bought it for me. I see Dale's here. Hi, Dale. But Dale and Missy and Lee.
Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah. I've at least met most of you. If I haven't actually worked with you with W.A.S.P before. I know we've worked together on Haunting or two. I think two.
Two officially, one kind of a fun night.
Yeah, that was a good night.
Yeah, always fun having you around. Now, when you say we, you're talking about when it comes to film and such. That's M.A.W, M.A.W.
M.A.W Works, actually. It goes by Ma Filmworks officially on IMDb, but it's M.A.W Works on Facebook. You can also find me on Twitter as Adam Ristau, but I'm affiliated mainly with Ma on Twitter. I do a whole lot of film stuff on there. But yeah, we have a whole Facebook profile for us. Like, share, subscribe. You'd be helping us out.
Well, that's one thing, is always looking to get that little extra like and share and such, because YouTube really makes it hard to get anywhere. You need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours before you could even start getting any kind of monetary gains, or even some of the other features like the community tab and things like that.
Yep. And being that we're a film group and not doing, random videos, the ones that really profit from that, believe it or not, are kids channels, because kids, they just randomly go through, they hit their buttons, they watch, whatever stupid crap appeals to them at the single moment. So kids channels really, really do well as YouTube channels, but things like film really just it's not a great medium for film, but it's a nice way to show yourself off to your family, your friends, your town. Um, and I'm hoping with Awesome a Cool Name we can grow past YouTube and actually find distribution somewhere else that does a little
Uh,
bit better. Like Amazon Prime is a really good distributor for short indie films. Hopefully we can meet their standards. But we did Howitzer Tales not that long ago.
yeah, I remember seeing
And
that.
yeah, it made me a award-winning writer. I've got awards out of Los Angeles, New York, India. Um, it's it it's been great. It did really well for itself. So, um, yeah,
No,
it's
I just pulled up your YouTube channel
yep,
to
that's
share with
us.
everybody. Oh, so you can see the screen. Did I lose you?
No, I'm here. I
Okay.
was just looking at Melissa's comment on the kids channels. Yeah, it's kids. If you really look at like a Ryan's World and look at the
It was
views on
well
Orion's
big.
World and compare it to even the best review sites. Reviewers are decent. Like you can do well as a reviewer on YouTube too, but it's like 100 million views on a single kids episode of someone just throwing darts at a dartboard or something, and then you've got this guy who's like introspectively reviewing a movie and he's got like 20,000 share or 20,000 views. Yeah, 20,000 is great, but it's never going to hit those kid channel numbers. But
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
YouTube is fantastic for kids channel stuff. Unfortunately, that's not what I make, but
Well, we got our own things we like to do. Like I've
yeah.
been thinking about getting into, well, I do have a second, maybe even third channel set up. I thought about doing music reviews. Um, Eventually, I might get into that. The difference would be is not your average artist and such and reviewing videos because
Mhm.
I know a lot of music, so it really wouldn't be reviewing per se. React, I guess, is the better way to say.
Yeah,
Um,
those do pretty good.
mine channel would be slightly different by reacting to covers. How well people do covers, make it
Hmm.
their own, and such. But that's a totally different subject.
That's actually a medium on YouTube. Believe it or not, there is a group of people who do that on there.
for for cover bands.
Yeah, ever since Glee, I think, was a TV show that really made it happen in the limelight. Because Glee was a series that took songs from the past, songs from the present, and turned them into their own thing.
Right,
And they're
right.
they're covers of pre-existing songs. They don't really have too many originals, but there's a whole lot of so and so reacts to Glee. Did they do justice for X song? So there
Well,
is a medium there for that.
I'm going to reveal a secret here that I don't tell very many people, and definitely not the internet until this moment. But I am guilty of watching Glee in the past.
I
So,
watched all the seasons. I screamed at the TV after, but
well, I really enjoy music, and so seeing the difference and the variances of how they bring stuff made me
I
like.
enjoy it. My only issue, and I agree with Disturbed, by the way, Melissa.
I don't fully
Wonderful,
agree with that.
wonderful version.
It's oh yeah, it's excellent in its own right. Um, Better than the original, I think it's just different.
It is different, but even Paul Simon said it was better.
He's being
Um,
modest.
yeah, probably. I the thing is the one thing I'll say about eh, ideas like which one's better and stuff is we've gotten into this culture that likes to review everything and anything. How we tried to stack things, first place, second place, third place, and the reality is stuff like Sound of Silence or other songs that have covers. A lot of them are just plain good the way they are, and there's a place for both. And
Believe
like, I don't think because Disturbed does a really good version of Sound of Silence that um, that the version of Simon and Garfunkel's Sound of Silence is suddenly defunct.
right.
But I think that Disturbed, I can pump that into my ears, directly into my brain all day long, and I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
Line up, it's not Barbie World. I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Or Baby Shark.
Oh boy, I have 2 kids, and I have heard so much Baby Shark in my life. It's ridiculous.
I bet. So let's go back to what this channel really is about. Is the paranormal. Marilyn Manson does Manson. I agree with you, Missy. We'll just
Yeah,
go
me
with
too.
that.
Me too.
But so you're a younger gentleman, and in such, have you? Boy, I didn't know where I was going to go with that. Anyways, have you experienced paranormal all your life? Was what I was going to ask. You're
So I got into the paranormal stuff in a very different way. Um, to be honest, I am an atheist. I do not believe that there's a God.
okay.
However, that it's not something that I have accepted about myself that is particularly like, do you love me now, mommy? There's a lot of atheists and people who use off-the-wall religions or religions that the society doesn't quite accept as much. Um, there's a lot of people who do that just to make an impact and make people, make their heads turn and stuff. I'm not one of those. I simply haven't really seen the existence of a god yet, and therefore I don't have that in my ability. But it's not particularly a great thing to be because essentially you're saying, I die, I poof. That's not a fun, wonderful thing to be.
Well,
So I got into this kind of,
unfortunately, I even feel people that has found religion still suffers with that view.
Yes, and I think that nowadays there's quite a few people who do think like I do, and I will say that although I'm very much a nihilistic type personality, I balance it out with a little bit of positivity. So in this case, my positivity is the fact that I do go out and I do try to find information that leads me to believe that maybe there is something beyond. Now, I still haven't seen any existence of God proof. All right, the proof is what I haven't got for that. But maybe there's another explanation as to, how it, how life after death goes. How, we lose a certain amount of energy, but energy doesn't really dissipate. It's one of Newton's laws. It's neither created nor destroyed, just like matter.
Correct.
So what happens to the essence of you? Where does it go? What does it become? And these are questions that I've asked myself since I was knee-high to a grasshopper as I, went to, you know, yeah, exactly, Matt. And
You're watching the chat a little closer than I am.
so, my explanation of ghosts and stuff. It doesn't have to really deal with the idea of um, a solid explanation. I still can't say that I have any proof of an existence of a higher being. I have seen things since about 16, um, where you can't not say that, XYZ happened. It did happen. There's not really a whole lot of explanation for it. Um, and I can't say I've even got it completely figured out. So if I sound like I'm rambling, I probably am, and I apologize in advance. But it's for me basically. I'm looking for that answer as to what happens, because personally, I'm not that fond of the idea that someday I'm going to croak. I would love to know that there's something else out there, another
No,
step at the very least.
no, Adam, hold
But
on. Hold on a second, please. Hey,
okay,
guys, I was just adjusting Adam's volume, mic, and such. You got a little bit of an echo on it. So if you guys could still hear him, comment or whatever, because I definitely don't want to cut you off, Adam. That's not my intention. I was
okay,
trying to help with you a little bit of echo there.
all right,
You're good though, so go ahead.
all right.
Keep going.
As long as everyone can hear me. So the existence of spirits doesn't necessarily mean the existence of a higher power. It just means the existence of a next step, like a next step in a cycle. Um, and that has been kind of my
Thank you,
theory
guys.
ongoing with everything that I've done. And at 16, I had my first experience. I was doing a haunted house for for a place I probably am not allowed to talk about too fully. I'm sure that Scott knows the story. I've talked to him multiple times about it. But I was doing a haunted house for
I,
a certain
yeah,
building, and uh, and I was upstairs on the main floor, and these kids kept running up from the basement. It's dark down there. It's scary down there. I don't want to work down there anymore. And it got to the point where there were no more kids in the basement, but the lights were on, and this was a building that was run on donations. So, the fewer lights, the better. Let's keep that electric bill down.
right.
Yeah, something like that, Melissa. It might not even be, well, I guess it would be reincarnation, but not in the traditional karma sense of reincarnation. I'll get deeper into it in a moment, I'm sure. Um, but
Well,
was tasked
let's
on
not
going
get
down into the
too
space.
deep.
Well, you know, I was tasked to
We've,
go into this basement in the building and turn off the lights. And I'm down there, and I turned off lights. It has this dirt floor in this one room, and if anyone has ever been on a Scott Morton um, paranormal hunt, this is one place I know he has gone a few times, I want to say. So you might have actually been
wait,
here, and you might know exactly the building.
are you
But
talking about the place where you did the haunted house,
yes,
or okay?
yeah, you've been there. You did an overnight there once, in fact.
Yeah,
Um,
well, late night, anyways.
yeah, that's true. We left about 3. Um, but I was in the basement, turned out the lights. I was walking out of this dirt room in the dark, and all of a sudden the lights popped back on. And I went over and I turned them out again, and the lights popped back on. And I started to realize that I wasn't just having electrical problems, because electrical problems don't flip switches. um,
Never that I've
so
heard of.
yeah, um, I was. I went back. I turned out the lights. This time I just stood there. And mind you, I'm not hearing anything. I'm not smelling anything. I'm not seeing anything. But I did see the light itself, the switch, popped up. And these switches are tough. They're old. They haven't been replaced since the building was built. You know, pushing it down is difficult, but they aren't the type of things that once you get that click, it's going to pop back up. It doesn't get stuck. So I was out of there. I
Yeah.
went up. I talked to the lady in charge. It's dark down there. It's scary down there. Mind you, I'm like 16 at this point, and I'm weirded out. So that was really what was a catalyst to making me go and try to do, this paranormal investigation stuff. And I went from there to doing these online things. I found a place called Strange Happenings, I want to say. It was run out of Erie, Pennsylvania. It was a guy who was a magician who did like a traveling magician's act out of Erie, PA. And his forum was extremely active. And he also had like links to all these cameras, and it was just um, a really great site to be on if you're a paranormal investigator. Now, as
Now
far as I know,
is that on just like Facebook?
no, this was before Facebook. In fact, this was just an actual website. I'd love to try and find it for you, but I can't remember the damn name. Um,
You can let us know later.
all right. But yeah, it had like you could go there and get a live stream of the Queen Mary, which is I think it was the Queen Mary or Queen Anne. But it's a ship that is dry docked as a museum slash like dinner party place out in
Right.
Los Angeles, and you could look at the different hot spots where ghosts show up. And there was an abandoned building, abandoned hospital that had been cammed up that you could look at. They also did a whole lot of different paranormal investigations. They went to Evans City, which is a Night of the Living Dead cemetery. They did.
I think Jason J. Warlers keeps bringing that site up to me, the where the film was done, as well as you.
Mhm. Yeah, I've always wanted to go. Always. That, and I'm just a fan of road trips. I'm the guy who would be stuck out, or head out the window, tongue hanging out the side of his mouth, like a dog. Especially after the pandemic.
Right.
But
Um,
yeah, as far as
Matt was lucky enough to go to the Queen Mary himself.
oh, nice. All right. Yeah, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, you can go online. The whole each hotspot has been cammed up so that you can actually go to a certain website and stream it in real time. And you never really see anything, but yeah.
I never
And
mentioned that before, Jay. I could have sworn you have. Not to interrupt you, Adam.
no, I'm watching the comments as well. And yeah, it's all around our area. Actually, Howitzer Tales was approved by the guy who was directed the 1990 version of Night of the Living Dead.
Cool.
Yeah, he's a good friend of our director, Mike Gaffner, and yeah, he's watched my stuff and likes it. And nowadays
Now
they're all
you
kind of
you
too old,
mentioned.
but
Sorry to keep interrupting. Now
you're
you
good.
mentioned Mike. Now you and Mike know each other through another local group here. I won't say the name because, well, I don't know if I have their permission, but you two were part of the same paranormal team, right?
Well, we were part of the same group at different times, so Mike
Oh,
was
okay.
not an original member of that group. I helped put together the group, and I don't know, I think life got busy at some point, so I ended up not doing much else, but I helped them put together their crew because originally it was just a small group of enthusiasts. and I had everyone meet each other, and they stayed together, and they're still going as far as I know.
You okay back there? Grandkid has her dolls all over the place. Yeah. Savini was director.
It wasn't Tom. Hold on.
But
I'll look it up. Mike knows him. I'm not as privy to who's who.
But that's cool though. Sorry, I got a little distracted there. Eventually on these chats, I'm going to use Discord and add in live callers too to ask questions or whatnot. Though I'd never used Discord before, so that's
Discord is actually a lot of fun.
Is it? I have a channel set up for it. I don't know if anybody wants to jump on Discord. I don't know how long this link is good for, just to chat. I don't know. That's if the link is always good, which I try to click it to be, you'll be able to go to this spot here, and then the intention is you talk to the moderators, and then they'll move you down the line, and I'll be able to put people live to ask questions and interact and such.
Neat. So Jason Restriner was the one I was talking about. It's not the director. I apologize.
Well, we get so many things going on in our heads that
exactly.
And I do that all the time. Obviously, I just said to Jay that I thought he brought up the location of The Walking Dead being filmed and such, but he says no, and I have no reason not to believe him. My mind is not all that quick with remembering things like that. So now fast forward a little bit to I'm trying to remember exactly where we met.
So I started riding the bus, and
yes, people, I am a city bus driver.
Yep. I was working over at Bilo still, and I was actually in the middle of working with that particular paranormal group when we met. And you were an enthusiast. W.A.S.P was not yet created. And
was it back when it was Waha? Well, Waha and W.A.S.P were never one and the same. Waha was just an idea. Then it progressed to W.A.S.P.
Well, this was prior to you putting together a real I don't know. I know that a little bit later you ended up with Angel, and you guys created W.A.S.P like later on sometime. I don't know that I ever knew about Waha.
Waha was never truly a group.
Okay.
That was just something me and Lee kind of kicked around and got us interested in the paranormal a little further.
Okay.
I had talked to, I had mentioned to the group that you were part of different locations, and they never got back hold of me. I guess Angel had the same experience. They were kind of a little lull in their personal lives too, where they were busy or whatnot. And so we got together, met at Burger King in North Warren, and it says, and we decided at that point to give it a try.
Yeah, because at the point I met you, I think I had done some Guernsey stuff. I had definitely been to Guernsey Hollow before. I had I had done the Jefferson Tea House because I had already written my play Woman of the French Doors, in which I did a whole lot of research on Alice Wetmore, who is actually a ghost story in Warren. This lady was like a premier person in Warren back in the 1920s, and the last anyone knew, one day she just gets in this fight with her husband, which everyone thought was, everything was hunky-dory with these two. They were, high members of society back then. And she runs
Okay.
out and she gets hit by a train, a slow-moving train she should have seen. And her body's dragged something like 12 feet or something, just dead. She was completely mutilated. And supposedly you can see her image in these French doors sometimes, standing
Yeah.
behind it. Was let's see here, housing group. I forget which one. Christie. They had all kinds of stories, all kinds of stories. A woman coming down from upstairs, asking questions, and then disappearing right in front of them. There was a gentleman who did electrical work who saw the image of a woman standing behind him and retreated the hell out of there. It's wonderful,
Really?
wonderful place filled with ghost stories. Um, so yeah, I did some research for a murder mystery play I did for the local historical society. Um, that went very well. And I got to, walk around for quite a few hours taking pictures. I got a few orbs, nothing too conclusive, but um, I would love to go back there and do another one because that's a place that I have a special interest in.
So, where is the one place that you'd love to investigate? Like I know you just mentioned this place, but where's the one place if you money was no object and you could do whatever you want?
Um, I think I think there's a old abandoned state hospital down by like Philadelphia or something. I forget the name of it. They always advertise
Um,
it.
I want to say Penhurst, but I don't think that's it.
Penhurst, I think. Wait, no, that's a prison. Penhurst is a
Yeah.
prison, I believe. Um, I don't know the name of it. I normally would. Of course, I'm on interview right now, so I don't know anything.
Trust me, I know
um,
that feeling. I was
I have
actually
a.
on a uh, online radio show to promote the paranormal
Mhm.
convention we were part of, and I was prepared for all kinds of answers and questions, and I was all ready to go. They hit me with the hardest question that anybody could ask, and that's tell us about your group. The only thing that could come out of my mouth was, we're a small group.
Yeah, and people are
Yeah.
saying Eastern State. I believe that's it. Yeah, they did a tour through there. One of my friends was on it from the acting community, and he took a whole lot of different pictures and stuff, and it was neat to look around there. But I've never really gotten to do a state hospital grounds. I would love to. The Warren State Hospital is a place I would love to go in their lobotomy room and look around because there is an abandoned room that they used to have active lobotomization in, and it's supposedly like morbidly haunted, like dark spirit energy type stuff.
Anybody
And
got a
I
better bottle opener?
um I've just heard that it's a place where people are actually scared to go to. I would love to look around and just see what I could find.
Now, local, as you're speaking of the state hospital grounds, one that is definitely a place I'd love to go to myself. But the library theater, I've always heard a lot of things there too.
Yep. The library theater has Thomas Struthers. And if you're ever in the main area, the stage area, and all of a sudden you're smelling cigar smoke coming from the curtained off areas along the sides, like
Yeah.
on the lawn, those are actually old boxes where the rich would sit, up close to the stage and watch the presentations from. And the left-hand side was reserved specifically for Thomas Struthers.
Oh,
And
so he had his own little section.
yes, he did. He was a huge, huge fan of the arts. But
Nice.
if you ever are smelling random cigar smoke inside that building, just say hi, Tom, because supposedly he's right there.
See, now if I take our spirit box and just put in headphones or recorder, people will just think I have a like a cassette radio with me. They wouldn't even know I'm doing an investigation.
Well, that's true. That's true.
A drive-by investigation.
It's one of those things where they're kind of weird about people doing stuff like that because, well, this whole town is, honestly.
Yeah.
There are so many people who are so afraid that
And yes,
it'll
and
give them a negative reputation.
right. Yes, and I believe I've heard stories of faith in as well.
Yeah.
From people, even from you, I believe as well, Ann.
I've heard one of those rooms is particularly haunted and not by a good spirit. Like I've heard like trifecta scratch and all kinds of stuff coming out of the faith in.
Now, the one thing that I found quite entertaining is back when we mentioned the place earlier, the tea house there on Market and Second, the green building there.
Yep.
Every Halloween and such, the historical society would do the guided tour going through and pointing to the place and saying it's haunted. They'd have articles in the paper about how they're haunted and such, and no issue. When our group just first started, we went there, knocked on the door. I believe Angel was the one who knocked on their door, and it was like, "Well, hey, we're a paranormal group. Can we come in?" And they said, "No, we don't want to be known as being haunted."
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, a little late for that.
Oh yeah, it's because it's one thing for them to say it when they're trying to sell something, and to actually have someone say, "Oh yeah, I was there and this happened." Because if you're trying to sell something, people automatically think you're just bullshitting them. And they want in on it, There's people who actually believe, and then there's people who just want the excitement. And I think that's the type of demographic that they're actually going for.
Yeah.
But yeah, the second it's found out that, well, here's proof of stuff that happened there, apparently people think that other people would get skittish. I think it would be a boost. I think that, especially in Warren, there's a lot of people who are very interested in that kind of thing. And, it would just drive up curiosity.
But Warren needs something that they have a lot of things historically, like a lot of people don't realize in our area that the St. Louis Arch was fabricated and such.
Yep.
Local people are aware of that, but people as far as Jamestown don't even have a clue.
Yeah.
So we got little things like that, but we need something that would bring in a crowd, and that would definitely do it. I mean, the library theater brings in big crowds, but outside of that, I know one person down there at the Second Ave Exchange, I believe the name of the store is, brings different rock and roll people and such. That's played with Motley Crue and such too.
Yeah, Charlie.
Yeah, that's his name. and big name wrestlers and such, but
Yep.
I still don't think that has a pull as the paranormal does for a place.
Well, I mean, I don't think that Warren is particularly trying to sell itself to the world anymore. Like, there was a time when Warren really wanted to become something more than it was, and now I think it's just kind of content on being an old town, and that's really all we've really accomplished is to solidify ourselves as just an
But
old,
that would
nice-looking town.
but that would fit in as an old town as well, though.
Oh, that's true. I don't know.
No, I fully
Warren's
understand
weird.
what you're saying. We did quite a good crowd the first year there, Jason. It was a heck of a crowd. As a matter of fact, we have spoke about possibly bringing it in again this year. Don't encourage him, Melissa. He doesn't need no help. But we thought about trying to do it again this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not quite sure how the pandemic is going to be going, but we'll see.
I would give it another year past maybe, but after that, yeah, people are going to flock to be
Well,
around each other.
we were thinking along the lines of if we did one this year, it would be groups staggered, like groups of 12 in the first one, second one. That'd be
Okay.
done. And so try to be as responsible to the current conditions as we possibly can be, because we don't want to try to hit the max number per group because we never know who's going to be there already.
Yep.
We're thinking, just trying to plan ahead and try to be COVID compliant is, I guess, the correct term nowadays.
Yeah, that's the one they're using around here at least.
Speaking of around here, I have, I don't know if it's a comforting thought or a naive thought sometimes that these videos and such just reach our area, like Warren County and such. So, for the sake of curiosity, leave a message from which area you're from, be it Warren, be it Jamestown. Let me know. Let us know how far this is getting out to.
Yeah, that'd be neat. I know with Howitzer Tales, I kind of thought the same thing. Well, it'll be friends and family and stuff, but we have over 800 views, and I mean, it's Los Angeles. We've got a guy from Las Vegas. They
Wow.
reach out sometimes randomly, but
Yeah. Well, I know that our Facebook itself says that it has 1,800 followers, and
mhm.
when we looked at the back end of the analytics of it, it showed other countries and such, which still
Oh yeah,
astonishes me. Um, that it gets to overseas and such, Danville, PA. Um, so sometimes I get curious on where we are and where we get to. Um, I find it entertaining that Lee doesn't believe in zombies, but he's willing to corral us and take us down Pennsylvania Avenue on these crawls. Our guide.
hey, I I think maybe not this year, but next year or something. That's going to be a huge boost. Like, people are going to want that in their life. So definitely start planning it and just watch the world.
Definitely. Now to get back into always can count on Jay for those nice little comments in our chats. Um, but unfortunately for him, I know where he lives.
Dun dun dun.
If I hadn't had 2 beers tonight, I'd come visit, but gotta stay legal. So, anyways, and that's another thing. What do you think about people? Not so much for the liquid side of things, but the herb side of things, using things like that to communicate with the paranormal, as in partaking and then going on investigations.
Like LSD trips and stuff.
I wasn't quite thinking that extreme. I was thinking more like herbal.
I mean, I don't know that it would matter. I'm not someone who does that, partakes regularly. By that I mean it's years in between, if anything. But it's my thing is if you are actually trying to be a paranormal investigator, you need to be able to quantify each and every statement you make. So I'm a fan of going in groups. I don't like I know that it's very popular on TV to show one person alone in the dark talking on a spirit box or something. I'm someone who says if you don't have that camera watching you at all times, recording what happens around you, have someone there. Quantify every single statement you make with proof, because if you don't have the proof, then it might as well not have even happened. So if you are seeing your grandma standing there and she's been dead for years, but you are high as a kite when you see her, that's not going to hold up in court. I'm sorry. So I
Well, if you're
don't,
going to court, you're probably in different troubles. But yes, I
yeah.
understand what you're saying.
It it's one of those things where, if you're just doing it on personal, for yourself, do it the way you want. You'll make your decisions based on what you think, what you feel, what you experience. Don't expect anyone to believe you if you're high as a kite when you do it. It's okay, though, to do it for yourself any way you want it. But if you're someone who is trying to build up something you're going to converse about later, or talk on, say, a podcast or a vlog, like, with W.A.S.P, quantify your statements with proof. Have a picture, have video, have a EVP recording, something.
Well, I fully agree and back your statement 100%. I can't see where such things would really add to the general credibility of it.
Definitely not the credibility. Um, I can't say that messing with your brain chemistry might not make you see different spectrums of light, and therefore, suddenly you're seeing the spirits who are apparently just kind of on a spectrum we don't personally see as humans. That's one of the theories I've heard. There's different theories that could quantify the idea that, smoking marijuana could make you, see the dead or something. But really and truly, if you're just trying to find proof, that's not the way to do it.
Yes, I agree. There's definitely better ways to do it. Meditation and such. Anyways, plenty of ways without me putting and trying to find ways. So on to another subject. What's the most interesting paranormal situation you've had?
Oh God. So I have two. One is just the investigation itself.
The
One
location?
is, yeah, a great location. Second most haunted place in America.
Oh,
Um, yes, it was during a ghost tour, so that to me takes away some credibility, because I don't trust ghost tours as much as I do just going out on your own, with your paranormal group and actually like having a scientifically sound paranormal investigation. If you're going with a whole bunch of people who are flashing cameras, every which way, and you
right,
know, it's yeah,
right.
I agree, Jason. I just saw that. But
Uh, That's from the creeper video we did. I just wanted to let him know I seen that. But
But yeah, I did a investigation in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and there is a lady down there who was hiding in her basement, and she was hiding with like a few other families from the area as the battle was commencing, and they were all getting to the point of starvation. So she had to actually go up into her house from the basement and bake some bread. So
really,
while she was, yeah, they didn't have anything else, so she had to make it. So she's baking bread, and meanwhile, outside, there is a Confederate sniper who's got a messenger on horseback in his sights, and he fires, and this bullet misses the soldier, goes through two of her rooms, and embeds itself in her back. They bring her down into the basement where she dies. So, for the most part, this investigation had, some stuff outside, a few orbs here and there. But the big ticket item that I got out of that, I was alone in a room. I had let the group go ahead, and and the way they had set up the room was very museum-like. You had these roof lights that were shining down directly on where you were allowed to walk,
yeah.
and then they had little like, this is the way it would have been set up in this house back in the day type scenes set up that you would walk through that were roped off. So I was just taking random pictures around with no
You
rhyme
just
or reason.
you just caught my shirt, huh?
Yeah. Um, but while I was taking those pictures, I got a shadow of a woman in a mirror. Now, my shadow, I can quantify, was directly behind me. Yes, Jenny Wade House. Thank you, Dale. My shadow was directly behind me on the wall because of the way the lights were set up,
Thanks,
shining
guys.
directly on the the path that was laid out for us. I've been to New Orleans multiple times, and I have not gotten to do the cemeteries yet.
I've
I
never been
plan
to
to go
New
back a third
Orleans.
time. It's wonderful. It's wonderful for many reasons. I traveled around to go to different WrestleManias and stuff throughout my life.
Probably amazing food.
The food is very good.
That's
The
not a resounding endorsement. It's
well,
very good.
let's put it this way. I've had a range of foods down there, and the top of the line foods are amazing. And then there's the rest, and it's just like anything else.
Hmm.
But yeah, when you get good food up there, it's not just good; it's great. So yeah, just watch those ratings, and you'll be fine. Um,
Now, I will just recently I was to Gettysburg, and all the tours and such are were shut down because of the
mhm.
COVID and such, and so we didn't know. Of course, we went because we wanted to go to a haunted location and such, and thanks, Jason. You threw off my train of thought. But so we went and ate dinner, and it was nice, and we walked around a little bit. And
Mhm.
I was surprised that there was no walking tours going on to some degree. But we ended up at a random cemetery. We did a Google search. It was open 24/7. Um, and so we made sure we weren't trespassing. And it's called,
Is it the one right by the town? The really big one?
oh, actually, this
It's
is a smaller one out about 5 minutes away from town.
okay.
Actually, we have a video on this channel. Old Alms shirt. Thanks, Dale. Old Alms Cemetery House. Old Alms House, I believe is called. And we
Okay.
actually, for a random cemetery in the middle of the night, we actually got activity and such.
Nice. Yeah, you'll get all kinds of stuff there. But I really I wish I could find that picture because it was the best one I've ever gotten. Now, the best event that has ever happened was right after I had gotten done doing Guernsey. Now, Guernsey itself was completely dead that day. I did not get one single
Which
photo
which
with
happened.
anything in it. Yeah, and I got nothing. And then I got home and I'm looking through the photos and I'm just kind of bored clicking through because there's just nothing in any of them. I can quantify everything as being, a reflection at best.
Mm,
And while I was doing that, the rocking chair in the opposite room that was open to me, right behind me at my parents' place, just starts rocking. And it's rocking real slow at first. And by the time it was done, it was rocking end to end, just as far as it could go.
really?
And finally, I just turned around and I'm like, okay, I get it. You're there. Now stop it. You're freaking me out. And I literally said it just like that because at this point I had been through enough that it was like, I do, believe that something might actually be out there. But um, yeah, at this point it was just like, okay, whatever. I get it. You followed me home. Hi. And as soon as I said that, that thing started slowing down, and next thing you know, nothing. But I saw things out of the corners of my eyes for the rest of the time that I lived at my parents' house.
Yeah.
So there'd be a person on my steps. There'd be a person beside me. I jump, you know, 3, 4 times a day. There'd be a person standing in my bedroom sometimes. I just,
So wow.
yeah,
Yeah, we as investigators and such, we really have to be careful on bringing stuff home with us.
I was lucky. At no time do I feel like whatever came home with me was, you know, wanting something more than just, oh, hey, I'm here. But,
Right.
yeah, I agree. I know some of the places you've investigated at were particularly, dark energies, and you wouldn't want to bring those home at all.
I'm
I have gotten stuff there on future and past. Um, investigations, Melissa, but this one was completely void of anything. Like it was 2 hours wasted.
Guernsey does have that happen sometimes. Sometimes I just think it's. I mean, how many times can you perform with people coming around when you finally say, "Yeah, I'm taking a day
hmm
off"? But
Well, the
yes,
first,
Matt. Um, we will find a time to get down to where you are, and hopefully everybody in the group could come down and we could have a fun time, um, and figure things out, as well as have you come up here again. You've been very kind and came up here a couple times to help us out.
yeah, no, I know I personally vouch for W.A.S.P completely and utterly. One of my qualifications for a decent paranormal investigating group is that you don't make it about the fame. There are so many groups that are only about, oh yeah, I'm going to get my group on TV because we're going to find that one thing that people just want to see and people just want to hear about. Next thing I'm going to be the next Taps. I'm going to be the next something or other. And I
Okay,
have,
guys, kill the big camera production and
yeah.
cancel the contracts. We just blew it. No, really appreciate that, Adam.
Yeah,
And
well, it's true though. I have never heard a single person in W.A.S.P make it about, you know, becoming something else besides an investigator. It's about the science. It's about making people feel better. It's about, you know, it's about trying to figure out what's out there with you guys, and I very, very, very much appreciate that because I watch things like Ghost Adventures, and Matt said it best. You know, fake evidence and stuff like that. It's rampant, and on top of that, it, it's it's an entertainment piece. You know, it's not
And
science. You aren't watching an actual documentary. Those are
and,
entertainment pieces.
and that's where I kind of feel bad for some of the TV shows because I do feel that a lot of them start off with good interest and such,
Hmm.
but they do have to really pump out that energy. Sometimes I feel like I don't put enough energy in these videos and such to keep everybody active, but I'm really happy with the core group we have.
Hmm.
Um, but they have to on a weekly basis just keep ramping it up.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel bad for them. I believe Taps was a very legit um, show when they first started the first 2 or 3 seasons, and then it just
Mhm.
got became a big monster for them and took over.
Yeah, the big, I don't even feel bad so much for the people who are paranormal investigating as I do the spirits. Because if there is truly a spirit there, if there is truly a spirit that is, you know, cognitively there and not just, stuck in a loop or, yeah, you know, it, just if they are aware that there are people trying to find them, trying to seek them out, some of the shit they do to try and get these spirits to evoke a reaction is
Oh,
awful.
thanks. I just got demonetized with you swearing.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm kidding. I'm not even so. I'm so far from that this channel.
Yeah, same with
But
Ma. Well, we're a ways away.
now speaking of yeah, speaking of spirits that are trying to reach out and such. Um, the thing that I've often wondered is it truly, like you were saying earlier, is it just our energy still around? Sometimes I wonder, and I went down this rabbit hole in my own mind um, about parallel universes where it's truly not other spirits, but multiple dimensions getting close enough to for us to hear each other.
Yeah,
That's
and
a rabbit hole I've been down a few times.
that's the kind of stuff that should be looked into. You try it as a theory, see how it works, see if it has any more productivity. You know. Thank you, Matt. Thank you. I appreciate that greatly.
And then you also have the other theory that, yeah, it was there
Hmm.
for a
Yeah.
second. Then I started thinking about it and it went. But, just, I was going to bring up the Mandela effect on things. And I wonder if that's tying in with multiple universes and such.
It's a theory that's out there. I know that, there's a very good episode, and this is kind of a roundabout thing to talk about on a paranormal group, but there's a guy named the Angry Video Game Nerd on YouTube. I'm sure if you like video games, you've watched this guy at least once.
No,
He's hilarious, but
I like video games, but I haven't seen that.
all right, look him up. He does a series on the Berenstain Bears,
Okay.
who are
Bernstein,
actually the
Bernstein.
Berenstain Bears,
Yeah.
and he talks about the Mandela effect on there, and that was it's one of the better episodes, just because the Mandela effect is very real. It even if you don't believe that there's anything you know real about these alternate dimensions and stuff. Just the fact that for years it's been Berenstein, but it's not. And there's just things that you think happened
Probably,
that
I think
didn't happen, but you
one
swear it did.
Mandela effect that I think a good majority of people um, would understand the most would be the magic mirror on the wall from Disney.
hmm
Do you know which one I'm speaking of?
Yeah, it's
Snow White.
a phrase. Isn't it
With
a phrase that people think they mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all, and they actually said something completely different.
what they say now, if my understanding is correct, is magic mirror on the wall.
Yeah.
And all these shows and all this stuff that says mirror, mirror, it's like,
It's wrong. Just like Luke, I am your father. No, I am your father.
right, right. And
Yeah.
Melissa, Missy, I have no problem with watching anything you send my way. Um, Sooner or later, probably more sooner than later, I'm going to be speaking about black eyed children. Missy has done tons of research for me in the past week, and so I just got to get it together in neat notes where it's not jumbled in my mind and be able to speak about it. Have you ever heard of
Nice.
such a phenomenon?
I've heard of it. I don't know that much about it. I've been rather removed from paranormal investigating for a few years now. The
I think
last,
we, I think these are very isolated incidents. I don't think it's a very big thing. Now,
yeah,
not to skip and jump around and all that kind of stuff, like crisscross. I think that's who sung that song. um, what they're speaking of in this chat, um, as Lee just mentioned, and other W.A.S.P members have mentioned, when we were just a young group, about 9 years ago, we went to Guernsey Hollow on a Sunday in July, probably around, I think it was around 12:30, 1 o'clock, and two separate cars, if I remember correctly. We wanted to look it over and see um, see what it was like in the sunlight in the daylight, so that way we so that way we knew the layout of the land and we weren't going around at night and falling in big holes or anything like that. So we arrive at Guernsey Hollow and we looked up the hill and we seen a younger couple, probably 30-ish, Sunday dress like they just left church and was going to visit a graveside of somebody that they knew. Sundress, he looked like he was a nice dress shirt. And so everybody was like, hey, let's be respectful, watch where you're taking pictures, and, give them the room they need because, well, it's only right to let them have their space. And so we grabbed some of our cameras and such, and we start heading up the hill. And you've been to Guernsey. There's only two exits and woods on both sides of Guernsey Hollow. And wrought iron fence about 5 feet tall, pokey tops, and as we get to the top, these people we had just seen are no longer there, like literally gone, and we're just everybody's looking at each other like, where did they go? And there was no, as we thought about it, there was no vehicles for them to get there from, and after they happened to hop the fence within 3 minutes, they went off in the woods. So it seems unlikely that that's what happened.
Okay. Yeah. There is a well-dressed little girl who sits just outside the woods sometimes. I know about that one. I've not seen anything directly in the cemetery itself. Um, I I don't know. I haven't seen anything like that. I did see that like people left like a little chair and stuff out for the little girl, so she's like a documented haunt up there.
Now
Um,
we brought toys there at one time.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I don't remember if we picked them back up and only left or left them behind, but
Well, she, as far as I know, can't come in the cemetery. She resides on the opposite end of the fence. But as far as I know, there is a little girl buried up there, if I'm
I
correct.
think there's a few children up there if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
I think it was a family plot.
Very interesting place. Unfortunately, they're doing a lot of work to the area up there.
Well,
Lot,
I
lot the fence isn't there anymore.
oh really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, if it is, there's only a small part of it.
Well, I will say this. That that particular cemetery could use a lot of TLC because the last time I was up there, 3 gravestones were overturned. Someone had tied a dead bird to the cross. There was beer cans all over. It was a mess of a place.
It's
And
a shame.
young kids go up there, and it has the quintessential look of a haunted family plot. It really does. So even if they aren't there for the actual ghost stories or anything, they want to get in on the action. Next thing you know, they're fucking around and sorry,
if
they're being
I had a chance to get monetized, that's it. I'm done.
yeah, sorry.
No,
They're
I'm just teasing you.
but I'm sorry. It gets me. I, I believe that if you believe that your grandmother dies and becomes a spirit and you can talk to her and contact her, then the least you should do as a paranormal enthusiast, a paranormal investigator, paranormal anything, is have respect for the dead. I am huge on the respect for the dead, and Guernsey is like the most disrespected cemetery I have ever seen. So when it
Yeah,
comes
I'd have to
to,
say it's definitely top, but
yeah,
that's because it's out in the middle of nowhere and
it's
no
party central.
regular.
Yeah, exactly. It's a party place, and I think that someone just decided to be a little idiot and pretend they were a Satanist or a Wiccan or a pagan and have a complete misunderstanding of any of those phrases, and nail a bird to the cross with some twine and think they were cool. But yeah, when I went up there, it was a god dang mess the one time, and that was the last time I've been up there.
Well, I don't think it's quite that bad anymore.
Good.
It's been a while since I've been there. The tombstones have always been knocked over to some degree. I don't think it's always by people, though. I think some of it's with age. The one thing that's kind of bothered me about the place lately is the fact that I haven't seen no fresh earth around grave sites, but I see a lot of the headstones missing.
Oh,
Yes, like down front where the younger graves, yeah,
hmm,
headstones were the younger people and such.
yeah.
Um, yeah, all that's not there anymore.
Wow.
And I
Yeah,
haven't seen no evidence of the bodies being taken to another area. So that's a lot of markers, a lot of graves without headstones, and that kind of disturbs me and bothers me.
well, I mean, I would go up there and honestly see if there's been a change in the activity, like if it's gotten more silent or if it's gotten darker energy, because I I've there's a lot of different, you if you're a virgin, kiss a cross type stuff that comes out of that place. A lot of those
Right.
kind of
Urban
things. But
legends.
yes, that's the phrase I was looking for. Thank you. Um, but as far as the actual place itself, I've never really felt like it's a place that threatens anyone. I've never really felt like any cemetery really is thus far that I
Yeah.
have experienced. But yeah, I would definitely be interested in seeing if there's been a change in the energy of the place.
Now, I've been there a little more recent than you, and it doesn't seem to be as active. Now, I'm not really going there at night as much. But no,
Hmm.
I guess I can't say that because um, I guess sometimes we're our own worst enemies. We get used to stuff and we don't think it's that bad or that much of risk. And it wasn't per se. We had two of my grandkids there not too long ago for their first investigation. And we did everything we can to keep it during the daylight where we know it's halfway decent and not anything crazy going on. There's a video of that on our
Hmm.
channel. Um, but with that being said, they're kind of younger. One it was a preteen, and one's I want to say about 10. And but so we, like I said, we wanted to keep them from being there at night when it was getting dark.
Yeah.
And well, circumstances came up to where the younger one lost her cell phone. We had to really, really look for it, and it started getting dark. And I noticed for the first time that the energy was starting to change, and it felt like something was just waiting for it to get dark, come interact with us, and not in a pleasant way.
Okay.
So that was something. So yeah, they still have the most time it's pretty clear or not bad, but this time it seemed to kind of had that energy.
Hmm. I've never really had that experience. Um, I don't know that I've ever really felt malicious spirits. Even that one place where we went a few years ago where we were looking at a certain someone's house and
Yeah.
they were saying their baby was getting scratched and stuff. I never really felt anything malicious there either. Of course, neither did Ursula. But
Now is that where we had the where I took out the my phone and was using the translator?
I don't believe so. This house we did an overnight there, and we did a full overnight. The family was actually quite scared of the place when we went in, and I know it was you, me, Lee. I believe Lee was there, right, Lee?
Lee is
Um,
generally with us.
he might have been off that day. I know Joel was not there. He had to work and wasn't able to do the overnight. Um, and oh, the black-haired lady. I had Heather,
Heather.
the one that moved to Hawaii,
Yeah.
and we burnt some incense, sage, I believe, and we did a really thorough check of the place. Like we had a laser grid set up. We had a multicam set up downstairs for a base. Um,
Yeah.
it was a really complete looking um, thing, but I don't think we ever actually got
Sorry for
anything.
the sorry for the cross. I'm gonna stop playing around. Sorry, I was a little. I could hear you fully and understand what you were saying. I was trying to bring up a video from W.A.S.P. Back from Guernsey, one of our first times there. I believe we caught that little girl you were speaking of on audio, and it's on our page. But I'm making too much of a fuss. So Heather was there, and she did sage, and
Yeah. And it was pretty complete. I mean, we put toys in the kids' room that it could manipulate and stuff. The only real good stuff we got from that, though, that I know of, is that we sat in the living room as a group and we did a spirit box with a meter reading. And there was a period of time where it was extremely, extremely active. I think you were, Lee, by the way.
yeah, I believe this is where Ursa's son came to bring batteries to. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, you were there, Lee. I use I like to do a thing with Google Translate on my phone, and I did it there. And what I do with it is if I hear that, like, say it was believe an older Italian person passed away, I definitely don't speak Italian and definitely not fluently. I will use that to translate out loud as a conversation. And I did that, and we were getting nothing really upstairs with that. But then I switched it over to Latin, and things started picking up at that point.
Okay.
Actually, if I remember correctly, I don't. This has been quite a few years now. It came across on the with the Latin. It came across with Ursula's son's name, and she did not care for that very much, and I don't blame her. It was after he dropped off the batteries.
Well, I know she said that there was some sort of Native American vibe or energy to it. I don't know. We didn't really find any conclusive photos or anything. We had a lot of good spirit box activity, though, like a lot. But after, I think, the witching hour around 2-ish, we had all that happen, and then it just dropped off like a rock.
Right. I think we caught something's attention, and it had fun with us for a short period of time, but then got bored with us.
Yeah, and I do know you said that family, the one time we had talked, was having a few more issues again, and you might go back, but I don't think you ever did.
No, and the interesting thing about that family itself was we started talking about it. This was after you got busy in life, we'll put it, and was left the group. Yes, Missy. So, anyways, we sat down and started talking about it, and we realized that we actually, at the same time, was pretty much involved in 3 different areas of Warren that was connected with the family. Not to sound like a mafioso or something here, but yeah, they were all intertwined, and I don't even think they realized that everybody's having something going on. So it was really interesting, but because I don't know if you remember us doing anything with the garage and Star Brick.
I don't think I was there for that, no.
But
You're talking about the bus garage?
one of the factories, I should say,
Okay.
abandoned factory. Well, that person that was running that place was connected with the family,
Okay.
and actually, it got pretty dark energy wise there, and after that happened, it seemed like everybody that was connected kind of went their own way.
Okay.
That
Is
garage,
that the train garage?
well, yeah, down behind it.
Okay.
But yeah, that was a pretty crazy location in itself. Yeah, Lee, to say the least. Um, excuse me. Um, it was interesting because it almost became like a playground for us. To put it one view, where we were there several times, everything was good, nothing was really happening. Well, things were happening, but nothing crazy. And then last time we were there, it just got bad.
Okay.
Dark energy tried to separate us, and we had in the middle of the investigation, we just said we got to stop now. And I believe that's the first and only time we stopped a investigation like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
And I'm not sure if Anne's got the prospect in Fifth.
that conversation.
Yeah, was that our house that we were talking about?
No, no.
No?
Uh,
Okay.
this would be on the hill of Prospect.
Oh, okay.
Where you're speaking of would be more closer to Market Street.
Okay. Because I know Fifth Avenue is famously haunted, like all the houses.
Well,
'Cause
that's
that's
because
where,
that's where the cemetery was.
yep, the original Oakland was down
for
there,
for
and they moved
those
up.
of you, hold on a second, please. For those of you that were not part of the Warren County area or familiar with Warren, do you know the story behind that cemetery, the graveyard there, Adam?
I believe so. That was one of
Oh,
the things I researched.
so go ahead and if you'd mind explaining it to the people that don't live in our area.
What?
What's the history with the cemetery
All
that
right.
was there?
So the cemetery needed moved elsewhere, and they moved it up to what we call Oakland today, which is outside of Warren because Warren was expanding, and they built houses along Fifth Avenue, which was just cemetery. So every single house that was built along there all of a sudden ended up haunted,
Mhm.
and it each one has that's one of the reasons why the historical society has such a good hauntings walk or whatever they call it, is because Fifth Avenue is just lit up like a light for paranormal stuff.
Very sure, very true. It's crazy that there's a lot of talk that if you could afford it, you were moved. If not, or if you're
Mm-hmm.
not well known,
Okay.
who knows what's still behind.
Yeah.
And they moved all the bodies that they wanted to um, along the Conowingo River to the new location.
Yeah. I think it also helped with flooding, didn't it?
Yeah,
Like
it
there
had,
was an erosion problem. But yeah, there's all kinds of stuff along Fifth, and unfortunately, a lot of those places, unless you live in them, you can't just up and say, "Hey, can I, stay overnight in your place?"
well, you
So
can, but
yeah, a lot of it is hearsay, and nobody really knows, but apparently, it's lit up. So
oh no, sorry to hear that, Ann. Um, I know you spoke to me about that a few times. Um, it's never good when young ones are getting scratched.
I mean, if you want someone to look into it, I know a paranormal group, right? Right, Scott? You might have heard of one.
I don't know. You might have to look in the phone book. That do anybody look things up in the phone book anymore?
I don't know. I think everyone just uses Facebook and looks each other up that way.
Uh, if you're still here and you've been here for some time, which I see a lot of people have, not to plug myself, Adam. Sorry, that sounded bad. Anyways, if you'll do me a favor, leave a like on YouTube, on Facebook, and I don't know what you leave behind on Twitch. I don't think it's a like, but that would definitely help grow these channels. Thanks,
Yeah.
Mike. And we'll have to set up time, set up something to come over and figure out some things on how to help.
And Matt Barron, I wanted to say that South Dakota haunt you wrote in the comments about earlier. I'd love to hear more. I am curious.
Where's that?
San Diego. My bad. San
Oh, I
Diego.
thought maybe you're talking about this place.
No, look up Mission Hills Park in San Diego, a cemetery that the city bulldozed and turned into a park. 145 bodies still there. They built a school next to the park as well.
Oh,
Be
that's
interesting to find out if that school was haunted or not.
nice. Yeah, Matt's never shied away from a conversation with me. He's helped me out plenty of times on
Excellent.
chatting, and because I do not do well with nobody to interact with. In time, that might be a different story. I might be able to just hop on the camera and do live and just go. But
It's different when you have to monologue. It really is. I've had to do both with M.A.W Works, and I like dialogue so much better.
it definitely makes a big difference because
Yeah.
it gives you a moment to kind of sit back and collect your thoughts and go, as opposed to just going and going like the Energizer Bunny.
Hmm.
Philip
Exactly.
says that an old guy walks the hallways and says hi to him nightly, but it's not a person he recognizes him. But so yeah, the places here locally I'd like to investigate. Struthers Library Theater is definitely one. Um, the state hospital grounds, of course. Uh, and there was another place that I had in mind, but escaping my mind now. And it was a place that most people wouldn't think of. I guess I'm at a loss. Anyways, so those were a few places you mentioned,
Hmm.
and craziest investigations. I mean, you were with us once at the mall.
I was there a few times.
I thought possibly a few times.
Yeah, a few times.
Now, what was your overall impression there?
I'm not really sure. At the very least, it's a very good area to get practice in and get people trained in. As far as actual um stuff, I think the most I saw was a meter reading, and I don't think we got anything on EVP. I don't think we got anything on camera.
Now, have you always been there when it was larger groups?
No, no. I've only been there when it was like you, me, Joel. I think my wife even was there once.
See, now that's the crazy thing. We usually picked up stuff when it was just a few people.
Yeah, I didn't see anything.
Now the
We
one
we
live
were in
feed I did,
Kmart both times, or
yeah,
the old Kmart, I should say, the
Kmart,
former.
the yeah, the former. Now the building that they were in, it was kind of very hit and miss. I didn't really get a lot. I mean, it was a creepy type area when it was dark, but
Hmm.
didn't really get a lot there. I agree. It was more towards the Big Lots side that I seemed to always get stuff.
Okay, yeah, I never did the Big Lot side.
Excuse me. Now the parking lot out back was quite crazy. Um,
Oh,
and
really?
actually, I did a live video there this past summer,
Okay.
and Matt actually said that he watches a lot of our streams, which I really appreciate, Matt. That's cool. And there was a lot of energy there. It seems to be, from my impression, is two younger women and a very over controlling male. Like this male seems to want to intimidate even the living females.
Hmm.
So it's really crazy. And I see that you said no, he doesn't know him. And why is the mall haunted? There's a lot of speculations on that. Angel actually did research on that and found there's a lot of negativity on the land there, from farmland to where my understanding is the
It was
farmer.
oil land right before the mall, wasn't it?
Right. So it started off as farmland, my understanding goes, and Angel's not on to correct me, which is a shame because she really did a lot of research into that. Um, but my understanding is the owner of the farm would get so drunk that he'd end up beating his field help and then regret it the next day. So he would pay the farm help, to when he got too drunk to strike him and carry him to bed. And then from that point, so definitely physical energy was there, physical abuse. Um, and then from that point, it went to state hospital grounds, I believe. and and then from there, who knows what they did. And from there, we went to the oil company, and they used their. I guess my understanding, there was an orphanage up behind where Aldi's is now. They would hire kids there to come down and work in the oil factory there, the oil refinery there, and they had a big fire, and some of the kids passed away in it. And then from there, it went to the mall, and then of course somebody, a younger kid, passed away in the mall. I don't believe that kid is still around, thank goodness. But we do get we have gotten voices of the young kids and interactions and such. And as Lee mentioned here, um, you could read that. And I carried that recording around with me for a little bit and asked different people, what's that sound like to you? And they've all said it sounds like an old shotgun.
Hmm. Actually, I think it was that propagated me working with Ma a little bit, because you guys got that and you wanted my opinion, and I think it was like the week after that I went up there. Now, I personally did not get anything while we were up there, but I did get to hear that EVP, Lee.
So
Is
you remember?
Yes, I remember that. You were extremely, extremely excited.
Well, you blame us.
No,
That
no,
was
that's like gold.
that was like a quite the situation because everything we were done for the night, and we've always kept a recorder going until we were literally out the door. And sure enough, all the equipment was out. We were pretty much just wrapping up for the night, and we caught that. So
yeah,
that was pretty cool. Yeah, it's not very often you get stuff like that, but when you do, you're like, oh yeah. like even here, I don't know if you were able to catch it or see my last live stream of that. I had a green screen behind me showing like this kind of stuff that my shirt's showing. And so we got about this time into the live stream, and I could hear something monkeying around behind me. I thought, somebody came upstairs, and about the time I looked around to see what they wanted, the green screen came down. Now, when I rewatched the video, you could see where it looks like it was pulled down, at least in my opinion.
Okay.
So you just never know when you might catch something.
No, never.
If Matt finds that funny, I'm sure the look on my face was of confusion. Probably not as funny as the hot chips, though.
Oh?
You didn't see me and Lee do the Pake one chip challenge?
No, I don't believe so.
Well, that's still on our page. Have fun.
I'll have to look.
I have never ate so much ice cream so quickly in my life. A half gallon in less than a minute. Nothing will beat the chip. But yeah, you seen what I'm talking about? It looked like it kind of separated and excuse me. But yeah, it's on our YouTube page.
Okay.
Now, just recently, I don't see even why I'm bringing this up, and I'm not a fan of real hot stuff. But I see Walmart is selling hot ramen noodles, really spicy ramen noodles, and Lee says that if I'm willing to try it, he will try it. So I guess that might be one of our next videos.
I think I've had those. They can be spicy.
Hopefully not too bad. Challenge. Yeah, it was weird, wasn't it, Missy? It was definitely weird. Like I said, I thought I heard stuff behind me, and we believe this place has activity too. Yes, you did. You can deny it, Lee, but you said that you would be up for it. But yeah, I mean, we've seen all kinds of things happening here and hear things here. Something from like a toy, one of those that teaches kids how to walk and such behind toys with the music and such.
Mm-hmm.
Hadn't been touched in weeks, I'd say, if not even longer. All of a sudden, just start playing the music on it like something was monkeying with it.
Yeah.
Then I have a fireplace poker hanging up on the mantle, and all of a sudden it would just start swaying back and forth. Just all kinds of things. The grandson looking out the back window towards the river and talking about he sees a woman dressed in gray teach him how to sing a song.
Huh.
So, and he was about 5 then. So,
oh, that last one's interesting.
And it wasn't even in English; it was some other language.
Okay.
So, it was weird.
Yeah, I've had experiences with kids' toys. Like 99.99999% of kids' toys making sounds is just the batteries getting low.
Yeah.
But I
Usually
had an
the
experience once.
usually
Uh,
when the batteries are going low, you can kind of hear it. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
They kind of trail off towards the end of the sound.
yeah. But with my one experience, I was living with some roommates at an apartment that is now torn down. It was 127 or 129 Conowongo, I think. It used to be above the Six Guns Chopper Shop, which is, you know, not there anymore.
I was about to say,
And
heard of it.
huh?
I don't
Yeah,
think I've heard of it.
it was on Conowongo. Um, but it basically we had weird stuff happen there all throughout. Bangs. The front door used to open and close randomly. We had a child with us who was sleeping in the other room, and it was me and the mother who were there during this time. And unfortunately, I didn't get to see anything myself, but we had the baby monitor on, and the kid was out like a light. And we're just sitting there quietly. I think I'm on my laptop doing stuff, and she's reading, and all of a sudden on the baby monitor, we just heard whispering.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was almost English whispering. Like, it was unintelligible, but it felt like it was more than static. And
Hmm.
in an instant after, that baby woke up and just started screaming. And she got to the room. She said that she saw something bent over the baby's crib, and in the next second it was gone. I didn't see
That,
anything, but I
that,
definitely heard the whispering, and then the baby just having a complete breakdown a second after.
that would be so creepy.
It was a
Nothing
weird
worse.
place. It was the weirdest goddamn place I have ever lived. And
Nothing
I don't
worse
think
than
whatever was there was too friendly.
nothing worse than seeing something going on with kids. I mean,
Yeah, it was it was a it was a it was a very weird energy there. Like, I'm not sure if it was a dark energy, but um like, it just seemed to pace the hallway, whatever it was, would pace the front hallway between the kids' bedroom and the front door.
now is
And I
that
have
the
seen with my own eyes that front door open and close.
now is that the scariest place you've been?
Lived in? Yes, absolutely.
But not that you've been to.
Well, it's probably the scariest experience that I've had because it was a prolonged experience. Um, with the Wade House was probably the scariest experience outside of that. But the thing was it just wasn't that major of an experience. Like,
Sorry, I lost video for a second.
yeah, I saw that. The Jenny Wade house was like, oh, hey, I caught something on camera that is completely and utterly unexplainable. With that apartment, though, it just it was a constant stream of weird things happening. Cupboards being opened in the kitchen, which was adjoining that hallway again. The baby incident. The drawers that were built into the room would open and close.
Yeah,
Um, things would slam, and that front door. I'm telling you, I walked down that hallway and saw that door opening. Nothing was there. Saw that door closing. Like, that was it. There's many things that I can deny. I can almost even deny that I saw that chair behind me rocking, to its, if it hadn't have been to its ends by the end of me just, in shock, I could have just wrote it off. But that place was just such a steady stream of things, that
right.
Yeah, it's definitely the freakiest place I've ever lived.
Well, that's I've lived in a house that was. I mean, I said things here, a couple other places where things have happened, but there's one place in Warren that really was quite extreme, and that was all kinds of weird things going on there. Shadows, doors opening, hearing the water turn on and off, and all kinds of crazy things. As a matter of fact, you might even read no, um, and I'll say this here for the first time for a lot of people. Um, I've been half writing some of my paranormal experiences through my life, and
Mm-hmm.
Adam's been kind enough to kind of read some of it and tell me that I'm not exactly horrible. Not saying I'm no Edgar Allan Poe, but I'm okay. But their
You do
personal
well. You do well.
thank you, thank you. And but I don't think I had showed any of those. I don't think I put that on paper or computer or whatever you want to call it yet. Probably the strangest thing and that happened to me was in this place was my kids were very young. Say the youngest was probably around 5, the oldest was probably around 15, if even that old. And the older ones were still awake, the younger ones were in bed. All of a sudden, we got a phone call on our landline, and sounded like the second to youngest child on it. We're like, "What the heck are you doing? You're supposed to be in bed. Go to bed." And then we were like, "Well, where are you, anyways?" He's laughing, and he's like, "I'm outside." So like sent the older kid out to get him, and he comes back in. We're still on the phone with my son, and he's saying, "I can't find him." We're like, "Get inside now," getting after the kid on the phone, and he kept laughing and saying where he was outside, describing we had a van. He's like, "I'm in the van. I'm here. I'm there." And so we're running around outside. I was on the phone. The son's mother was on the phone, and going back and forth. And finally, it dawned on me that in my mind there was no way he could be on the phone because well we didn't have cell phones.
Mm-hmm.
We just couldn't afford them at the time, and especially for our youngest kid, our second youngest. So I hand the phone over to his mom, and she's still saying, "If you don't get in this house, you're going to be grounded. I'm going to beat you." Anything she can to get him in the house. I walked to the back bedroom where they were supposed to be, and they were both dead asleep in bed. I went to the living room and said, "He's in bed." And all of a sudden, we hear a deeper voice laughing and hung up.
Oh wow.
It's probably about the craziest thing in the house there, but it fooled everybody that it was him. Like it was spot on the voice.
Wow. Was that in the house you currently live in? Because I
No,
thought you moved up. That's an old house, right?
this is from about 12 years ago, maybe a little
Okay.
longer. This
That's
was on
intense.
Russell Street in Warren.
Okay.
But yeah, that was that was a pretty crazy night.
That's pretty intense, I won't lie. I haven't really had too many, like that place was definitely the most active, and it was very, very active, but I haven't had too many experiences. Um I know that one of the things m- my father had experiences. He always has a bad habit of knowing certain things right before they happen. So he like has dreams about things. He called 9/11 about a month before it happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it came to him in a dream. And it wasn't
Wow.
exactly it, but there were planes crashing into buildings and stuff. Um
There's a lot of things you don't
And
know about me, Lee.
I know that he used to see things around like my crib and stuff when I was young. It was never my brother, it was always me. So I don't know. I don't know if that's sparked my interest nowadays. But yeah, it's one of those things where I haven't had the experiences you have for the most part, but when it gets intense, it's intense, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it was just crazy how convincing it was. I mean, to fool so many people and get us running around the house like, what the heck? And then all of a sudden it clicks like, wait, how could he even be calling us?
Yeah.
But, you know, just because the experience I had may sound extreme doesn't mean that yours wasn't.
Well, no. My relation is that my father, when I was young, uh, had lived over at his great grandfather's house his grandfather's house, my great grandfather's house, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And they were living on Locust Street at the time. And my great grandfather was dying at the time, and I had just been born. I never knew him. He was, you know, like a month out, and my mother and my father were in bed sleeping, and the rooms were divided by curtains
Okay.
downstairs. And he slept in one, and they slept in the other, and that way they knew, you know, if he needed anything.
Right.
And they woke up, and both of them saw that my grandfather had gotten up, and he was walking across in shadows. Walking across, and he's pulling on the curtain, and the whole curtain's moving and stuff.
Yeah.
And my mom told my dad, hey, go put him back in bed. And my dad got up, went to the curtain, opened it. Nobody was there. He was asleep in bed.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. And it wasn't too long after that he died. So, yeah, when a spirit wants to be convincing, it can be damn convincing. But
Very much so.
I mean, I can't really say that they're held to any certain properties once they're dead. I mean, whether you call it energy or spirit energy, you know, what exactly holds them to one voice, one thought process, one anything?
Well, that's what I often laugh at myself because I talk to spirits when we're doing investigations as if they're kids or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they've probably been around for generations. I'm sure they know what it's like to be spoken to normally.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you like I said, you read some of the stuff that I put down on paper. Now, I've had an experience that involved me kind of similar to what you're saying, where I was asleep, but I had no clue what was going on about my grandmother passing. Do you remember that story?
No, not off the top of my head.
I've been that great. Never mind, I won't say it. No, it's my grandmother passed, and I was at a friend's. I was probably around 12 years old myself, and I was staying the night at my friend's house, a group of us. And when I got up in the morning, our one friend Larry was gone, which was unusual for him to just take off on us. And so I asked, and we asked each other if we knew why, and nobody knew why he took off. Well, it wasn't about an hour after I was up or so, got a knock at the door. It was my older brother looking for me, and with the bad news that my grandmother had passed away. And so, of course, we left and did the family's thing that happens with such event. And about a week later, I ran up to with my friend and said, "Hey, why did you take off? What happened?" And he said that he got so scared because in the middle of the night he woke up and looked over and saw this dark mass hanging over me, hovering over me, just kind of floating there. So he caught it. He said it looked like the Grim Reaper. That's
Okay.
his words, not mine. But he said that it scared him so bad that as soon as he felt he could, he just took up and ran out of the house pretty quick.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. You were talking about with the sleep and such, reminded me of that. But
Yeah, my mom had one of those death dreams where someone dies and they're dreaming about them at the same time, but I've never had to experience anything like that, luckily, because I imagine I'd be pretty freaked out.
well, fortunately for me, I had no clue. I was asleep. It wasn't anything I was dreaming about. He woke up to that.
Yeah.
So he says, and is
Well,
the timing was something to make it more believable, I guess.
hmm
But now, with all that being said, um, we've been on for 2 hours.
okay.
Can you believe that?
No, it feels like I just got on.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Before we get too far on saying our goodbyes and such, I'm going to ask the chat if there's anything that you would like to ask or bring up or whatnot to me or Adam. Be it paranormal, some personal questions we might ask, we will reserve the right to not answer. Um, and Adam is a script writer, if I'm correct.
Screenwriter, yeah. Same difference.
I was about to say, is that not one and the same? I don't know much about filmology.
There's very, very small differences between the two, but realistically they're the same.
Yeah. So if you have any questions or anything, feel free to ask. We'll probably try to wrap this up to somewhere around the even 2:15 mark, give or take half a minute or so. Now, imagine me coming up to you saying, "Okay, I'm your gonna be. I have a vision. I had the money. I want you to produce a TV show for me, and
hmm
what I want is a paranormal show, but I want it to look like it's set in the 50s. What do you think? Something you could do? Would you take on such a project? If so, how would you handle it? Give or take an hour. Some days, man.
I would say that first off, the big thing is money. Believe
Oh
me,
yeah.
the Awesome Cool Name project I set up, the whole 1930s vibe is because the 1930s you literally hung curtains and called it a spaceship. Like you could get away with anything. So I'm like, hey, this will be cheap. And I'm about $300 in the hole for this project already.
Ouch.
So if you're doing like a 1950s thing, you have to understand, you have to find the appropriate clothes, you have to find the appropriate cars, or if you can't find the appropriate cars, you have to set everything in interiors. Where
Can't
are your
we
interiors?
can't we just all wear green and like
Just chroma key it in?
right.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but then you need a team of people who can chroma key and keep it on point all the time and keep the visuals realistic to your angles and stuff. Melissa says, "Have you ever had or have you had experiences with the paranormal all your life? A magnet, if you will." Um, I don't know that I've ever had experiences my whole life. I know that I've had ghost stories within my family my whole life. I personally did not go looking for them. I've always been interested in the paranormal, but I don't know. I don't remember anything happening when I was a kid, but I also wasn't looking for it as a kid. I know about 16. From then on, I did have experiences, whether it be bringing something home from Guernsey, which is a theory. Something happened that night.
Mhm.
Or, the place I lived in when I was 24. So most of my life, I have had paranormal experiences. I know Ursula said I had a little bit of psychic ability type deal going for me, like empathy, and like I could actually sense them a little bit more. I've been told this both there and what's that place in upstate New York where all the Wiccans live?
Lilydale.
Lilydale. Yes, I got told by one of the psychics up there that I had a little bit of that going for me. I don't know. I don't claim it because I can't really prove it, but I know, for a good portion of my teenage years to adulthood, I've had experiences, and I've had good returns when I go on like paranormal investigations and stuff. So
Now,
I'm
if you're asking me, and sorry for interrupting, Adam, I
you're good.
don't believe myself to have a lot of paranormal things that followed me my whole life. Um, I've had some little things happen, and I believe as I sat back and was writing things down lately, I had more happen to me than I realized from having dreams when I was a kid about a house that was a whole house at the time of my dream with paranormal things going on, to find out that, but outside of my dream it was apartments. But when I spoke to the owner, who was a friend of mine, um, it turns out that what I was able to describe to him in my dream was the way the house was set up in the 1800s or something, way before my time of being born. And then
Mhm.
multiple things throughout the years that either I've forgotten or just didn't think much of it. And as far as any kind of abilities go, Earth used to laugh at me because I'd say I'm a rock. I need equipment to find stuff. Um,
I had some very good. I didn't know Ursula like you did, but I had a very, very good talk. And um, for those who knew Ursula, she was a sweetheart, absolute sweetheart, who knew that she had the ability to sense things but didn't like to put labels on it. She used the word psychic as a very general idea of what she did, but she didn't like to use labels because, labels make people, give you sideward glances.
I think she only used that word, in my opinion, just because that's what most people
Yeah, it was a
she
descriptor.
wanted. Right. It let people understand what she was saying.
Yeah. But one interesting thing about Ursula is when I finally got to meet her, she realistically didn't have more than a year left of life. Um, but she knew it. I was sitting, the day that we did the paranormal haunt where the baby had been scratched up and stuff like that, and we were in the house, she was the one who took me home to my apartment at the time. And she actually said, that was when she said, I can sense that you have, a little bit of what I have in you and stuff like that. And, you can kind of sense what other people are feeling and whatnot. And I've always had good luck understanding people. For as many issues as I have, that's always been something that I'm good at, is just kind of getting the general vibe of a person.
That empathy and such.
Yeah. But she also, we got kind of deep for a while, and she actually said that she knew that she didn't have too much longer to go, but she knew it wasn't going to be something where she died in pain. And she died within the year, and she died, during surgery, didn't she?
No,
I
I
know
don't.
she never really woke up from it, right?
She did a little, but we won't get too deep into that.
Yeah, that's not really our place, but I remember having a very interesting conversation about stuff like that with her. And I I really wish I could have gotten to know her better, because she was really sweet and really just, she was the type of person that I like, who calls themselves psychic, because the ones who push this idea of them being psychic, I just can't bring myself to trust. But she was someone who didn't necessarily need your trust. She was just like, I have things that happen, and I'm often right, and therefore, I just kind of think this is what happened. So she was a very, very smart woman, and I wish I would have gotten to know her a lot better than I was able to.
Yeah, very true. Very couldn't said it any better myself, Adam. Still, still an emotional topic for a lot of us, a lot of people.
Yeah.
But so, on that note, well, let's move on to a different topic. Um, and I did switch my shirt back to the brick because of Matt making a comment.
Well, I mean,
Look at these bricks.
I will say, Matt, don't be too put up by the bricks. Most people who live stream are stoned the entire time. But
I'm not even drunk. I'm looking at my empty bottles saying, man, I wish I would have got more. I don't have that be right back screen.
yeah.
That will be my next edition.
Well, it's a good setup. It really is. It's much more professional than anything I do for live streaming.
Uh, I could send you a link to this if you'd like. If you use my link, if in the future you do anything with it outside of the free setup, you will help me out.
Okay.
But yes, as Matt says, it's StreamYard. They have a free edition, or there's two tiers you could subscribe to. The like what the screen is now, the chroma key is part of the free edition, and just little odds and ends to play with. Nice thing about it is it's a website, not software on your computer.
Mm.
So it doesn't, yeah, it doesn't kill your storage space or anything like that. If you have halfway decent connection, it's good for this kind of content, that's for sure. A lot of sharing abilities, inviting multiple people. I could have up to 10 people at once on this, I believe.
Very nice.
It wasn't that hard for you to join, was it?
No, I did try it on the iPad first, because that's the only thing I have with a camera, and I wasn't able to do that. But I honestly, that's okay for me, because I'm a little more brave when my face isn't showing
Yeah,
anyways.
we both couldn't do that. One of us had to show our faces. Otherwise, I would do something like this. Just call me Kilroy.
No, 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 no,
This was
Brickman, Brickman.
this is the remnants of my green screen from the other broadcast.
Nice. I have a green screen. I haven't used it on any of our projects yet.
You
I want to.
feel like you're on the water yet? Anyways, but so it has a lot of options. Make it a fence and you be Wilson. You're showing your age there, Matt. Um, so yeah,
Uh,
it's great for this kind of stuff, that's for sure. And the more you pay, like the next tier, you could stream on 4 or 5 platforms at once. Like right now, we're doing Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube on the same shot. And as far as I know, there's no lag or anything. Saves me from trying to do one live and then download it and edit and do all that kind of stuff.
okay.
Hopefully, hopefully it helps these social platforms grow. YouTube, it's made a difference, these live shows. And I really love hanging out with everybody. I mean, it's been a solid 7, 8 people this whole stream. And that's just, oh my gosh, phenomenal for me.
Oh, this is a nice setup, and I very much enjoy being able to participate in the comments and stuff.
Um,
That's something I'm not able to do on my normal streaming, which is, for crying out loud, it's directly from AMD. You'd think they'd have it right by now.
jump over to StreamYard. Check it
I
out.
might have to.
Yeah, my YouTube, I'd really love to help it grow. I've been at 127 subscribers for a long time. I'd love to have 3 more subscribers on YouTube to hit that 130 mark.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Facebook, we're at 1,800 and some, and that's been our strongest social media presence. I would love to see that hit 10,000 one of these days to get all the extra stuff to go with that. And Twitch, we're at the start with Twitch. I think we got 3 followers that we gained from last live stream. And
Oh, nice.
thing about Twitch, I don't know if you get likes or whatever. I just don't know.
Followers. Followers are the big thing with Twitch.
Is it?
Yeah.
So, but
As far as I know, I don't use Twitch that much.
well, I don't mind using it. It's just a platform that I'm not really all that where I'm going to keep growing this as much as I can. Like I said, I plan on trying to do live conversations with interaction with call-ins or whatever with Discord. Matt was nice enough to kind of jump on our Discord for a minute, so I see it works.
Very nice.
So, but yeah, check out StreamYard. I'll send you a link sometime tomorrow with my information.
All right.
And then we can figure it out from there. I don't see the ability to share it right away, well, probably without losing everybody. But
yeah, just share it with me after.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
So I think we're at the point where we are ready to wrap it up. I know you're going to have young kids jumping on you early in the morning.
Yeah. And my son's 6, so that'll be fun.
Oh, that's a shame.
Well, he's
sick,
only a
right?
little bit sick. He's 5, but he's only a little bit sick. He's got a small virus going on.
Yeah.
It's nothing too worrisome.
Yeah, but kids.
Yeah.
Never fun when they're not feeling well. I mean, there's that little bit of cuddliness and sitting back and hanging out instead of going crazy like freaking Sonic the Hedgehog.
Which my son is. I swear.
So sometimes, even though you don't wish such things on, a little mild cold or something where they're all cuddly is not bad.
But yeah, before we go, I just want to say anyone who's interested in what I do as a screenwriter, find M.A.W on YouTube. We're still trying to hit that 100 mark.
That's M.A.W.
Yep.
Go ahead.
MediaWorks, and it's we don't have a ton of content. What we have though is good, And our most recent one, Howitzer Tales, The Boogeyman, has multiple awards from around the world at this point. We have Indonesia, India, Los Angeles, New York, Florida. I'm trying to get into Australia right now. I haven't heard anything on that film festival. But Awesome a Cool Name is coming up. I'll be filming that within the next 2 weeks. It is a 1930s love letter parody to the old Flash Gordon serials of that era. And that has already been accepted into 3 different film festivals for the screenplay competitions. So hopefully we can get some credibility for that as well. And I just want to say thank you. This has been a ton of fun to do.
This is Adam here, and Michael.
Yep. That, believe it or not, that short clip is one of my favorite things we've made just because it's so random.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely a pleasure having you on. I mean, I wasn't sure how well I'd do without the video aspect, but you do what you can. And
Yeah.
I
And I think
believe
you did great.
everybody here enjoyed this content, and I expect everybody who is able to go to this M.A.W and help them grow, because one, they deserve it. Excellent material, excellent video,
Well,
excellent
thank you.
screenplays, and not only that, they're from Warren. I mean, this
Yeah.
is such amazing talent for our little area.
Well, the big secret of Warren is that there is a ton of amazing talent
Thanks,
in
man.
Warren. The problem is a lot of that amazing talent moves away because there's just nothing in Warren to keep them here. But if you have ever been on that stage in the theater that we have, which is the 12th oldest theater in America, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it used to be 13th, but the 12th burnt down.
Oh, that's not good. You didn't have no hand in that, did you?
No, we
Okay.
don't want to be first that bad. But some of the people, some of the singers, some of the dancers, oh my God, this town is talented. But
I believe I'm the biggest YouTuber of TDU.
yeah,
Maybe even
well,
the only one, but we won't worry about that.
but it's just one of those towns that has a ton of talent, and
Which
Mom
you're
Media
one of.
Works gave me the ability to use my own, so I'm grateful.
Yes. And I'm grateful that I've met you through these years and you've helped us out, and you know.
Well, it's been a ride, Scott. It's been a good ride. It's always is, man.
And I hope you will come back on again.
I hope so. This has been great. It was great to meet Matt and Melissa and all the rest.
Definitely a great group on that joined us tonight. That's for sure. Very
Yeah.
active to keep us going, and we felt the support tonight from everybody. Thank you all.
It's
With
been
that,
fun, guys. Thank you.
Adam, I appreciate you being here, and I'll get a hold of you on Messenger.
All right, man. Take care.
Yeah, have a good night, Adam. Bye.
You too.
So, okay, everybody, back to me. I really appreciate y'all stopping by and the support. These live chats, I plan on keeping on going because I really enjoy doing them. That's for sure. Maybe I'll eventually be all right with being on the camera by myself and whatnot. I know Melissa has gave me tons and tons of information to help me share about the black-eyed children. If you haven't heard about that, boy, they're interesting. That's an interesting subject for sure. I ask that if you found any value in these live streams in this one, to like it. If nothing more, click like on Facebook and YouTube, Twitch, like or whatever, hearts or whatever Twitch is. I appreciate you guys joining me on all the platforms. And as I grow, things like green screens and other stuff like that, more appropriate, the white stuff around our little whatever overlays, I believe they're called, will look a little better and better portioned and such. We have Lee over here singing Pink Floyd songs. By the way, which one's Pink? Yeah, you guys just really prop me up and our guests by interactions and such. It's awesome. I cannot complain. They say that your first 50 to 100 people that are on your YouTube channel and such is part of your community that really more of a family per se, and I really agree with that. So thank you everybody for joining me. If you wish to be a future guest, get a hold of me through Facebook, through YouTube, Twitch, Twitter at W.A.S.P Warren on Twitter. You can contact us through this email that's scrolling across at the bottom, waspwarren@yahoo.com. Excuse me. Send us a message and we'll see about getting you on, and you could tell us about your teams or about your paranormal experiences and such. That'd be awesome. The more guests we have, the better. Always looking for reoccurring guests like Matt. Missy, if you got an open invite, anybody in the W.A.S.P crew, definitely got an open invite. Dale, I'd love to have him on to speak of his many hidden talents. And he loves to talk. That means I get to just sit back and listen like with the rest of you guys. That's for sure. With that, I hope everybody had a great night. I look forward to talking to you again next week. I believe we should be able to do something next Saturday, probably closer to 8 o'clock than 9 o'clock. We'll see how the time schedules work for everybody and whatnot. Good night, everybody.